All right. I hope you guys can see me clearly. And Elizabeth, let's see. Do I have Elizabeth yet? I see more of you are joining. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, I don't know what. Let me see. Elizabeth, can you hold on? And I apologize, y'all. I'm trying to do this on my phone. I know y'all can see and hear me. Elizabeth, did you get an invite to join in this conversation? Ah! Let me see. Hi, Aretha. Hi, Josephine. All the way from Asia. Yes. Wow. I know it's like middle of the night and you're up. Um, let's see. Elizabeth, do you see me? Did you get an invite, Elizabeth? I don't know what I am doing wrong. Okay. Oh, I really am. This is my first time doing it this way. Elizabeth, you can see and hear me. I see your note. But did you get an invite? Yes, that's it. Perfect. Okay, it's going to bring you on. You figured it out. Maybe. Should take just a moment. Hi, Sherry. Hi. Oh my gosh. I love international conversation, y'all. Sherry's from the UK. Let's see. My phone says adding. So, Elizabeth, I should be able to see you. I'm hoping any moment now that you should be popping up. Oh, it says guest decline, live video invite. Let's see. Let's do it again. Okay. I think it's coming. Thank you guys for your patience. Y'all are going to love this conversation. I hope you are having a fabulous, fabulous Monday. Like I said, okay, Elizabeth is going to try to do it from her phone. That may be it. Like I said, I was trying from my laptop and I was having issues. So, and again, this is my first time doing it this way. So, y'all know technology is not my thing. But as Elizabeth is kind of getting on board, part of why I wanted to have this conversation is because so much of the work that I do with folks is around mindset. And if you can change your mindset, hey, Elizabeth, it
Hello, hello, hello.
works. Hi, awesome. And you look gorgeous, of course, always.
Oh, thank you.
I hope you
I
guys,
don't know why it wasn't working for my laptop for some reason.
yes, I was having somewhat of the same issue, but I'm glad you got on.
Okay.
And
Yes.
everyone, can you guys hear Elizabeth? Just let me know in the comments. Just say yes. And like I said, this is going to be such a good conversation. Hold on. Hey, okay. Alethea and Aretha saying, hey, hey, y'all. Awesome. Okay. And so this is going to be such a great conversation because as I was sharing just before you jumped on, Elizabeth, so many
hmm
of the folks who come and do some private work with me or even in the group thing, there
hmm
there are so many women who are struggling with overthinking and they
hmm
are women who are successful, they're accomplished, they are making it work for everybody else, But how many of you guys know that just because you can make it happen for other people, often we can't make it happen for us? And so when I met Elizabeth, and it was, I feel like it wasn't that long ago, but so much
Yeah.
happened in her life since we had our initial conversation. It was right before the new year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of, well, the beginning of 2017, we literally, I have a memory like an elephant. I think we started working
Mm-hmm.
together like January 3rd. Like
It was. It was the new year.
was serious. She called me right before New Year's Eve, and I think she was one of those folks who found me on an insurance panel, and I explained to her that I had kind of shifted from working in the traditional therapeutic way and that I had moved to coaching. And one of the
Mm-hmm.
things I love is for a woman who, first of all, is clear about what she wants. You don't have to know how you're going to get there, but Elizabeth was very clear that she wanted change in her life. And so when I got finished talking to her about what coaching was, how it worked, that it was all about getting to the results that she was desiring, she said, sign me up. and and so, literally, just a few days after that, we began working together. And so, part of why I wanted to highlight her, and she is going to be one of many that I began to spotlight because I have the best clients in the world. I do. I do. Some of y'all are on listening to this conversation now, so be ready because I may be calling on you. But Elizabeth, if you could just share with people who are kind of tuning in, where were you? Because, you kind of from the outside, you had everything. That was one of the things we talked about. Like, you went
Yeah.
to college, you did all the right things, you had a job making a good salary, you had been married, you have a daughter. Um, and so you were like, by all the standards, I've done everything right. But what?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, Melissa, thank you so much for highlighting me. This definitely is an honor and so much fun to do on this Monday morning. So, hi everyone. And I would say I was stuck in my head. I was in a situation where, as Melissa said, I had the picture perfect life, right? I had the house, the husband, I had the good paying jobs, but I just kind of felt empty. And a lot of it was just kind of living at most, I would say 90% of it was me living in my head. I had told myself for years and years and years that I wasn't good enough. I didn't deserve this, but I knew I wanted more. I knew I deserved more, but I was just stuck in my head and not knowing how to move forward, not knowing what to do. I thought I needed therapy. I thought something was wrong with me. I was like, well, something must be wrong with me because this isn't normal. I was like, I was like, I never need medication or what. But I didn't know I needed I know I needed the change. It was mainly just me being stuck in my head.
Yes. And can anybody else relate where you feel like I have everything that the world says I should have? Why am I still not happy? And
Mm-hmm.
so for you, and I'll just share because so many women I know can relate. So many people ring my doorbell, knock on my door because they think the problem is if I could just get my husband to act right, if I could
Yes.
get my love life together, then all of this would be resolved. And so, why don't you share a little bit, Elizabeth, about was it your husband that was really the problem, or what was the issue?
If this was like a year and a half ago, I would have said, of course it's him. It's of course he's the problem. He's not making me happy. Like he has to do these things to make me happy. But it wasn't him. I was pointing the fingers outwardly when I should be pointing at myself. It really wasn't him. He was trying. He was doing everything that he could um, to make it work, and I was looking at him to make me happy when it should have been looking at myself.
Yes, yeah. And so, one of the things that I talk about a lot is how we are always making up a story.
Yeah.
And it is amazing to me how all it takes is one incident, and some of us have multiple incidents, but all it takes is one incident, and we will take that and we will begin to build on it and build on it and build on it and spiral it. So can you talk a little bit about, you know, I don't even know if I want to call it a misunderstanding, but kind of the story you made up about your husband?
I thought that he just didn't understand me. I thought that he didn't care. Um, I felt that he wanted out but didn't want to say anything to me about it because I just thought he wasn't, but he was trying so hard. And I would see it, but I was just telling myself that he wasn't just wasn't good for me because I didn't want, if it was for, it was me not wanting to make a change for us. So I had just felt that he just wasn't trying, he didn't care, that he just wanted out. But really, he loved me so much and so hard, and he was fighting for us by himself. And I had one foot out the door. I think at one point I went online and was printing out divorce papers because I was just like, I'm I'm done. But I wasn't trying. I wasn't trying. Like I said, it wasn't. I hadn't done the inner work for myself to be able to make it work for us.
Yeah. And a lot of times those stories that we make up, they didn't start with whoever it is we're having a conflict with in the moment.
It started years before him. I would say it started in my childhood. It started in my childhood, and I had made up the story that he was just like my dad. And my dad and I've had struggles with throughout my whole entire life. We're at the best place we have been now. But I had told myself that he was just like my dad, so I was treating him just like my dad.
Yeah.
and and he was an innocent party in all this. He didn't he had no idea that this was all going on. So I would say that this started way before I even knew he existed.
Yes. And I just want to pause there because I say so often that we will go through hell and high water. We will fight tooth and nail to be right. And
Oh, absolutely.
whatever the story is in your mind, trust me, you are trying all the time, consciously and unconsciously, to prove yourself right.
Hmm.
So, like you said, so although her husband was fighting for the marriage, you were looking for evidence to prove that he really didn't care, that he's on his way out.
That he didn't
And
care.
and again, whatever
Yep,
you tell yourself, that becomes your truth, whether it's actually
absolutely.
true or not.
And I
And
was telling myself,
so,
I was telling you myself, I said, but he's doing this, but it was always a but never really realizing, but wait a minute, like, what is it that what is it you've told yourself this whole entire time that he really isn't? So absolutely.
and so how did forgiveness play a role
Mm.
for you? Because you already talked about that. A lot of the story you were projecting onto him really wasn't his story. It was a story between you and your dad.
Yeah, oh, it was huge. It was really, really big. I would say I started within myself first. I had to forgive myself for my wrongdoings, for things that I wasn't proud of in my childhood. And it played, I would say it was vital, it was key to really moving forward.
Yeah. And so and also just being able to have a conversation out loud, because I do remember challenging you because I mean the way you were, you know, we're talking a year and a half ago, you weren't sleeping, you would stay
Oh
up
my goodness,
at night.
never. I was up. I was a self-proclaimed night owl, which I don't think it really exists. But I was literally up till sometimes 3, 4 in the morning, knowing I had to be up in like 3 hours, just ruminating, just in my head, telling myself, just thinking about things, just in my head again, like not journaling, just having these thoughts running in my mind over and over and over again. But I felt like I was almost punishing myself. I felt like I had to punish myself for not being in this happy place that I thought I deserved. So I would be up for like 3, 4 hours, 3, 4 hours at night, just thinking, just laying there, just thinking in my mind.
Hmm. And so how did things change when I challenged you to actually have real conversations?
Oh my God, it was
People
so tough.
having that private forbidden conversation
It
with
was
us.
tough because it was tough at first. I was like, well, no, because if I continue talking to myself, then it's gonna change, right? I mean, I don't have to have an outward conversation. I would say things started changing instantly, like especially with me and William. Like I would just I remember Melissa, you challenged me just to kind of tell William what I wanted. I was like, well, he should know. Like duh, like he's been with me for 12 years. He should absolutely know what I want. Like, why wouldn't he know just by just looking at me or just kind of feeling the vibe out, right? But that wasn't fair on him. He's not a mind reader, right? So I would say when we start having those conversations, that's when things really change. When the communication was definitely key.
Yes. And how easy was it for you to get what you wanted?
So easy. It was absolutely easy. It was just, it happened. It happened. It was effortless. It was absolutely effortless. And it seems so, it took me forever to even have that conversation at first because I was like, what? It's not going to work because I've spoken to him before about XYZ and we've talked about XYZ, but it made a big difference. It was so easy.
Yes. One of the other things that I had you do, because again, mindset and manifestation go hand in hand, people. Trust me.
Hmm.
Whatever it
Yeah.
is you're thinking will manifest in your life. And
Hmm.
so once we kind of had some shifts in you being able to kind of get out of the headspace and actually get into
Hmm.
your life, have some real conversations and not the imaginary conversations. um,
Yes.
I was able to challenge you to actually write a manifestation letter. Remember that?
Absolutely.
And it wasn't just about her marriage, because again, even though that is where we started with Elizabeth, it's like there
It
were
grew into
so
something
many
bigger.
other things that, because when you are so focused on what you think the problem is, what ends up happening,
Hmm.
neglect so many other areas of life.
Absolutely.
And so I will just say Elizabeth did not hold back at all with her manifestation letter. Do you remember the kind of
Hmm.
things that you put in there?
I still listen to it. I remember Melissa challenged me again to write it and she challenged me to record it and listen to it over and over again. I still listen to it and read it like to this day because more so now it's like even just being amazed and how this is actually really happening. Now I did put in there that I was going to have 4 kids. I only have 2, but I'm just like, I don't know if I want 4. But it definitely started like literally as soon as I wrote it and was listening to it daily, things would just have like each time Melissa and I would have a session, I would say, Melissa, guess what happened today? Like this has happened. Like I put in there basically like it was very detailed and I like nice things. So I put in there a huge mansion. I put in, but mostly like I guess for inner work, I put in there like I wanted a better relationship with my family, my sisters, my whole entire family, me and Willing's relationship will be strengthened too. And it really started happening like back to back. It was almost overwhelming, but I was just so grateful that it was happening. I knew it was going to happen.
Because, and I know a lot of folks don't know kind of the backstory, but
Hmm.
I know originally you're from Nigeria.
I'm Nigeria. I grew up in an African Nigerian household. So for those of you who know any Nigerians or grew up in a Nigerian household, it's very strict. It's very much so that you have to be a certain way. Like you have to go to college, you have to there's only 3 options: a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. So you have to be these certain things and you have to check off the boxes, right? And then you have to get a good paying job. So for me, I was like, is that it? Is that all life is? Going to college, getting married, having kids, and getting a good paying job. I said, there must be more to life than this. And I said, I know I'm deserving of it too.
Hmm. And I think there was a little bit of resentment because I think part of the unhappiness was you weren't clear that you were living your own life, or were you just living out what others
Yeah.
wanted for you?
Yeah, I felt that I was living the life that my parents wanted for me, but not what I wanted for myself. And that's why I always kind of just felt stuck and trapped because I wasn't living Elizabeth Lee's life. I was living my parents' life that they wanted for me.
Yeah,
And I obviously, of course, I resent them for it. I felt like it was unfair that I hadn't been able to kind of, I guess, spread my wings and do what I wanted to do.
yeah. And that over time, I think that created a little bit of friction between your parents and you, and then over time also even within your sisters. So part of why
Yeah.
I share your breakthrough is because when we met, you and your sisters were talking what? How frequently?
Holidays, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
maybe
you're
maybe just
here.
holidays.
You all live pretty much within the same
Yeah, and at the
area.
time we lived within like we lived all within the same area, maybe like a good half an hour to an hour apart. So it was definitely drivable. Like, I mean, we have phones and technology, so we could have like FaceTimed, whatever, Skyped and talked every day, but we just weren't. We just weren't in a good place.
Yes. And so one of the things you wrote in your manifestation letter is to have great relationships with your sisters, and you weren't even talking, you
Yeah,
were barely talking to once or twice a year. I want you guys to see
yeah.
how that is. And so to
Mm-hmm.
actually write that that's my desire, that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
wanting, and then to have your sister call. Can you talk a bit about where you and your sisters are now?
Great. I mean, my sister and I have a twin sister and I have an older sister. So my sister, my twin sister and I took our first trip together, like our first sister trip out of the country. We went to Paris and London, where I grew up this April. We haven't traveled together in it's been over a decade since we had a trip together. And my older sister and I, we talk at least, I mean, my twin sister and I, we talk at least once a day. We either like, whether we're FaceTiming or, my daughter's going to see her, we talk at least once a week.
Yeah.
And my older sister and I, we have the most friction, I would say. But about 2 weeks ago now, she was in a hospital, and I was the first person she called. If
Wow.
this was a year and a half ago, she would never, I probably wouldn't even know about it. And I went
Yep.
to take care of her because, I mean, that's what sisters do, but she wouldn't have even called me if this was a year and a half ago at all.
Yeah.
And this was
So
all in my manifestation letter about me wanting.
I want you guys to hear how huge that is. That again,
Mm-hmm.
that it was her putting the desire out there. Because did you do anything to kind of make it happen? Or like
No,
how
it
did
was
it
just the desire. It was listening to it. It was having faith that it would change. I didn't do anything like out of the ordinary. I didn't do nothing magical, nothing. We were just having the faith. It was just listening to it, reading it over again, and just believing it was going to happen and knowing it was going to happen.
Yes, yes. And so literally, I was trying to actually find your manifestation letter. I couldn't find it for our call today, but we're talking about Elizabeth wrote about where she wanted her marriage to be almost immediately. Her husband began to kind of fall in line with the vision because she began to expect it. Um,
Hmm.
she just told you about where her and her sisters are to go from talking maybe once or twice a year to now taking trips together to being the first person to call when something is going on. They're talking on a regular basis now. Um, Tell me what happened with your job because, and I don't know what it is. I
that
attract
was
HR.
good. That was
So folks in HR, folks in education, or people in finance or other therapists
yeah.
to be who I attract. And so tell me what was your desire in terms of that?
Yeah, in my manifestation, and I think just in general, I've always wanted to be on my own. I've always known I've had an entrepreneurial spirit. I think even from my first job, which was at 14, I knew I wasn't meant to work for someone else. I just thought it was always so, restricted, and there wasn't much freedom to it. And I've been described as a free spirit, which I never thought I was, but I like to do my own thing. So I had a good paying job. It was a six-figure salary, and most people say that I was doing really well with that. But I knew that my desire was to kind of be on my own. So I think it was this year actually. I was out. I had we have a second child. I have a son. He's 9 months old,
That was a
and
manifestation letter too, you
and
all.
that was the manifestation letter too. So I have two more, I guess. But um, and I said to myself, you know what, working a 9 to 5 isn't for me, and that isn't to say go and quit your job tomorrow. Um, but I just knew God. I was ready. God told me I was ready to leave my job and step out on my own. And do you want to go into detail on this, or just kind of give you that the short version of it, the story? Do you want to
Well,
go into the short version or
well,
just the long version? There's a lot
no,
of
you
steps
don't
in
have
between that, but
to. Basically, what I will say is if you're hearing, Elizabeth didn't want to work 9 to 5. She is a mom
yeah,
of young children. So at the time that she wrote the
I have two
manifestation
kids
letter,
under
she just,
3.
and so, and I think your
Hmm.
daughter was maybe 3.
At the time, Victoria was 2 turning 3, and we didn't have obviously our son at the time.
And so, but in the manifestation letter was more children. And literally, I think toward the end of our working together, and mind you, I'm only working with folks in the 90 to 120-day window. So literally everything we've talked about happened within that window.
It did.
So I'm not talking about, I've worked there as a therapist. Sometimes I've worked with people for 2 years, 3 years, and they have not been able to manifest and make the changes over 2 and 3 years. And
Mm,
you get serious about your life and you decide that certain things are going to be non-negotiable. Look what happened in 3 months, 4 months.
yeah,
And no slip back. It has been all the way up since,
it
because that
has.
back in 2017.
Right.
Elizabeth contacted me again, probably at the end of spring, so probably around May, early June, I
It was
think.
April. It was April. It
Yeah,
was April.
okay. And by
Yeah.
then she said, what did you say you wanted to do now? Because I guess she got such great results as doing coaching, that what did you
Right.
desire?
Because I've seen the I mean just the great work and the great benefits of coaching. I was like, Melissa, I want to be a coach. And Melissa was like, wow, like great, because like I said, I thought I was going to stay in the HR space, but I think through doing my own work, I see the benefit of just having a coach, and I've just seen that I feel like everyone needs a coach. Everyone, I say everyone needs a Melissa, but but I said I want to also help other women to achieve what I've achieved, because it really does make a difference in your life. It not only just your work life, just everything, like health, mind, body, and soul.
Yes. And one of the things that I said to Elizabeth is that she actually was coaching in the HR space.
I
Um,
get yeah.
so, it's not about whatever your title is, but it's about
Hmm.
the transformation that you bring to the people in your sphere of influence. And
Absolutely.
that's exactly what she was doing. So when she contacted me back in the spring and said, by the fall, I want to be coaching, it's September. What are you doing?
I'm coaching and profitable also.
And because I would dare say, and I'm just gonna, put it out there. I'm like, this sister
Please
makes
do.
more money than me. And I mean, that's a whole other conversation of literally desiring to be in the coaching space, to want to work from home, to want to be with your children. And again, did you put the hustle on? Because that's the way you were trained. How did that opportunity
Yeah.
come to you?
I would say one thing that as far as the opportunity at work, the coaching,
Yes,
I didn't do anything different. But I would say like what Melissa talks about also is living in the feminine as opposed to the masculine.
yes,
And I just knew it was going to happen. So you kind of create the energy around you. They sought after me. I didn't go after them. They knew that one of my core values I would say is excellence.
yes.
So they knew that I was good at what I did. So they sought me out. I wasn't even really looking for the opportunity. It came to me. It kind
Yeah.
of it really literally fell in my lap.
Yeah, but it falls in the lap because, like you said, energetically, you have opened the door and you have invited God in.
Hmm.
And so that's what I'm
Absolutely.
wanting all of you guys to hear, that there is power in making your request known to God. And it's
Amen.
not just making the request, but it is also making yourself available for God to show up,
Hmm.
as
And
opposed,
that is big.
yes, making the request and then running 100 miles an hour trying to make it happen.
Yeah, one of my mottos is always being ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's right.
Always be ready and waiting so you don't have to get ready, because once the opportunity is going to be once because you'll get opportunities all the time, but are you going to be ready for them?
Yes. And so the place that you get ready, because it's so funny, Elizabeth she's very coachable. So she asked me initially, like, so should I be working on my website? Should I be working on, and I will just tell you again, she's at six figures as a coach, and she just called me in the spring, and she does not have website.
I have no website. I have $10 business cards from Vistaprint. I rarely do social media. This is actually the most I've probably done on social media in a while. I've never done
Right.
a Facebook Live. So it really isn't about, marketing yourself like in the, traditional sense, like the Facebooks, the investing all this money. I mean, I've invested as for, but I haven't invested any like website network also, but not in the sense where I'm paying, thousands of dollars to get a website or these things that people say that you think you need.
Yes. And so again, it's not to say that you don't at some point get those things, but when you
Mm-hmm.
feel the desire, when you feel in your heart, because again, part of the feminine is being led and
Mm-hmm.
letting yourself feel something and then intuitively knowing and what direction should I go in, as opposed to looking around to see what everybody else is doing and trying to copycat.
Mm-hmm.
So, so again, Elizabeth, what would you share for someone, just as we're wrapping up, who maybe has been in their head thinking about a whole lot of things? They may be kind of rehearsing some old story that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
What could you say to women to help them really make a shift, even starting today?
Start now. Get out of your head because all the things you're telling yourself most of the time aren't true. They're things that you just made up and you're feeding your subconscious, right? So the subconscious is so powerful. So you've got to start now and just make that change by listening to positive messages, whether it's working with Melissa one-on-one, but just really, really forgive yourself. Start by forgiving yourself first, and then making that change by taking action. Because you can sit in your room, you can sit wherever you are, thinking about what you want to do, thinking about what changes you want to make. But if there's no action behind it, then you're just up ruminating like I was.
Absolutely. Action, but make sure it's inspired action.
Mm-hmm.
Not busy for the sake of being busy, but to be able, again, to be divinely led and to be open and available to receive.
And be intentional too.
Yes. So, Elizabeth, I thank you. I thank you. I
Thank you
thank
so much.
you for sharing time, even though she's able to work from home, y'all. She's working from home,
Yep.
has her two babies, her husband, everything that she desires. And now it's not just the outer, but it's the inner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the goal. So thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to put your comments on. That's why I love Facebook Live. I saw some of the comments. If you have questions, I'll be sending you answers back. And Elizabeth, thank you, thank you. Keep up the great
Thank you.
work. And thanks for sharing your story.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right. Goodbye, y'all.